Hey boys and girls of all ages, the bone for the nut and for the bridge, let's make it. I have standard blocks and I made this at these measurements, so it fits in already. When it fits in, I'll take a pencil, put it nicely on the line here, put a line over here, put a line here, take it off, take that off, and I made the line here by just touching the fretboard. If it's a little bit over the fretboard, 1/10 of a mil, more than enough, because the string only needs direction. The height it gets from our 0 fret, remember? So the lower we can place it, actually the better it is, because the better we can make a steep angle to the machine heads. Good. So take off that, take off that. What will I have then? I'll have this one then. I make a mark, HE it says, means high E, so I know I'm always coming like this. At this size I decided to make free space between the high E and the side of the fretboard, 3 mm, and the low E, 2 mm. The spacing, the free spacing. When I've made those two marks, 1, 2, I'll take this measurement, divide that in 5, and let's say it's 8 mm, go 8, another 8, another 8, another 8, and this should also be 8. Then I take a little vial. It's from a nail set. Got them flat and round and triangled. Very cheap sets. They come in very handy in working on bone. I made the marks and I just clamp this one in and go in for about this depth. And that's enough, because I only wanted to give direction to the snare and keep it in place. So it's not completely disappearing, it's almost half on it. That's what I like. It's a nice view and it does the job very well. So HB, it comes in here, and the only thing I further did was rounded these edges. That's all. Comes in here. You got this G string, so that should be over here. You see that? That works nicely. So that's for this nut. Thanks to our 0 fret, very easy to make, no worries about the height, it only make incisions to give it the right direction to the head of our guitar. Good. This one as a bone for the bridge. Oh, by the way, this is bone. It's very easy to check it's bone. Just burn a bit of it or sand it very hard and then sniff. And that smell is the same as when you're having troubles at your dentist. Burning bone. Horrible smell. But bone works perfectly. It gives our vibrations good through the bridge, through the nut. So if you have a more cheap guitar with plastic bones in it, or a plastic nut and a plastic bridge bone, replace them with bone. It might improve your guitar a lot. Good, this one, the same. I take the measurements of the slot, take that off. I have this measurement, will fit in. Only this one is just over 3 mm thick, and this one has to get the side of the slot, which is 2.1 in my case. So just sanded it down, one side, the other side, on my little machine over there, until it fits. And then I round it. I make these edges a little bit round, but I also try to make the same rounding in here as we have in our fretboard. So the strings, we have a fretboard with a little rounding in it, and the strings will also come with the same little rounding. I just did it by hand, draw it, took it to my sanding machine, made the rounding in it, and then by hand made this rounding. What you also can do, remember the block with sanding paper on it we used to get this rounding in the fretboard. You can put sanding paper in here and get that rounding straight. I did it by hand. Not bad, if I may say so. Good. And that comes in here. Whopper. The next thing I had to do was to make sure the pins, just bought them, ebony pins with some abalone dots on it. Didn't make them myself, I bought these. And they have to fit in well. And I have to clamp the holes, in the holes, and clamp the strings so they won't come up. So it's important, the measurements of the holes in your bridge for your pins, and those holes should be tapered. I took the measurements of the pins, and over here at the top, the 5 going to almost at the end 4. So, and they will stick in. I mean, the bridge on my top is only this part, and it starts with 4 here. Oh, sorry, only this part. It starts with 4 here, measurements up to 5. So what do? I take a drill of 4 and drill complete hole of 4. Then I take this little thing, which I also bought in China for just a few dollars, send it at home free, put a little a wood handle on it, easier to work with, and I put some tape at 5mm. That's easy. These are already drilled for. I go in, turn them around slowly, take them out, and go to 5. Before I am at 5, take my pins and check the measurements. And it's alright if you see the pin here and you see this broader line on it. That is what will rest on your bridge. Now, to have your pin correctly in and let it clamp correctly, it should go in rather easy till the last mil, and the last mil you should give with a little push and get it in place. Then you know it will always clamp. Otherwise, you've got, if you make it too broad, you have the risk of clamping the string and then tuning up, and this will come up and will not hold your string the way it should. So it should go in rather smoothly until the last mil. The last mil you give it a little push, then it's alright. Okay, so far so good. One last thing I wanted to show you. Put them up like this. What we've got here under the fret wire are little openings here and there, because when we saw in the incisions for the fret wire, I made them deeper than the measurements of the fret wire. and I've got some differences in it. It's not a nice sight. Not many people that will be worried about it, but I like it to be invisible. So I use the little shellac trick, and that's the same trick I used to fill up these holes that were left after my mistake over here with the dots. Make this one hot. I have a piece of shellac here which is colored completely dark black through and through. You can just sell them like this. I let it melt. Here it comes. And then let the shellac melt into this hole. Make it a little bit hot. Put it on, you see it bubble. That means the shellac is really going into it, because the bubbles are the air coming out because of the shellac is going in. And I don't want to make it too hot because I could damage my fretboard, of course. And I'll try to keep the black shellac away from the mahogany of the neck. Okay, that's it. Now, shellac has this enormous advantage. It cools off and it's hard within seconds. So, once I've done that, I can take a little bit of sanding paper and sand this down. Okay. The only problem is that while you're working with shellac, you'll never ever be sure that when you, after you sanded it down, if it's perfect. So, well, this time it's looking rather good, but often I have to use the shellac again and just repeat this, fill it up. I'll show you now from up close. You see, that's nice. You hardly see it. Wow, I'll show you the holes over here. Oh, it's hard to show with this camera. Maybe with zooming in. No, this camera won't do this trick. That's a pity. But, you know, you can see it here, maybe a bit more clear. And this one as well. So, I'll fill them all up, turn them around, and fill the other side. And when that's ready, ladies and gentlemen, when that's ready, we'll put the strings on and we'll find out how she sounds. See you then. Bye bye.